When you watch a lot of 21st century horror, you can find yourself pining for the way films used to look, the way they used to feel. Back when they were shot on film, not digital. How the grain and the colour added such depth to the atmosphere, the darkness. Yet, at the same time, you're craving something new and shiny. Thankfully, on rare occasions, a film comes along that does both. The Love Witch from 2016 is one such movie, meticulously crafted to mimic a 60s horror film while inserting commentary on modern sensibilities. Elaine is a woman on a mission. Following a disastrous divorce, which culminated with the suspicious demise of her ex-husband, Elaine is searching for true love. Her desperation and obsession leads her to witchcraft, which she begins practicing full force. Armed with new confidence, Elaine seduces the men around her. This will be easy. All she has to do is give them a little stare down, and every creature with a schlong becomes putty in her hands. She breaks out her arsenal of new tricks, appealing to men's base desires of subservient partners, performing teases of the strip variety, and deceptively slipping them hallucinogenics. Hell, she's got this one in the bag. This story will be over in 5 minutes, tops. Nope. The only kink in this plan was supposed to be a retro witch fetish, but after sexing about, Elaine decides the potential suitors do not live up to her high expectations of what a man should be, and what true love should be. The men crumble into weeping vulnerable little boys, or desperate Dans on a depression binge. The weak sods can't even handle a screening of Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat.
What the hell? Your coat? It's so bright! The rainbow.
Elaine's got no time for these pitiful displays. She moves on to find the next notch on her belt, leaving a trail of bodies behind her. Oh well, seemingly undeterred by these initial poor results, the witch keeps on witching, but her scheme is threatened by a policeman. Protected by the sheer power of his jaw and cheekbones, whoa, he seems to be the only male capable of resisting her charms and ending her carnage. The Love Witch is a visual feast. Even if the story and characters fail to interest you, it is such a delight to bask in every frame of this strange little film. This isn't like those projects that think their content is now a retro 80s throwback just because they shove some neon lights in there. This movie is authentic in all aspects. It was shot on 35mm film to accurately capture all of the painstaking efforts that went into the intricate 60s details. The hairstyles, the thick eyeshadow and red blush makeup, the set design. Years of work went into collecting and curating the vintage clothing and furniture used in the film. And then, when writer-director Anna Biller struggled to find what she needed, she even had to craft many of the items herself. Everything, the rear projection, the crash zooms, the music, even the acting style. It all recreates the vibe of an old-fashioned Technicolor picture perfectly. It is very much part of Anna Biller's aesthetic taste, and not a one-off project. Her previous feature film, Viva, released in the year 2007, shared the same attention to detail for its 1970s setting. That film too set its sights on sex and gender roles. The Love Witch is a comedy, mining some perverse humour out of some very blunt and backwards ideas on how women and men should act.
How are we going to be equals with men if we keep catering to all of their needs?
I think that if you want love, you have to give love.
It is also clearly a feminist piece. The decision to double down on the old school visuals, despite the modern setting, adds a nice but upsetting correlation regarding gender attitudes. Samantha Robinson's portrayal of Elaine is amusing and very well performed, but her outdated views on relationships make you wonder, have gender roles in everyday life really changed all that much in the last 50 years? The Love Witch takes established concepts of gender and reveals their absurdity simply by displaying them in this fake, over-stylized world. The idea that girls can only, and should only, aspire towards fairy tale notions and the damsel awaiting her prince role. The classic indication that men are always the strong ones, dominating and dictating their woman's life. But when confronted with an independent, domineering lady, especially one that uses sex as a weapon, taking back control on those fronts, their fragility is revealed and cannot be remasked. Ultimately, it destroys them. I would not dream of mansplaining the Love Witch, and no doubt giving a completely wrong interpretation in the process. If anyone decides to criticize my video, don't worry, I'll just crumble and become a pathetic puddle on the floor. However, I'm sure that someone else with more time and patience could construct a very interesting feminist essay on Billa's work. The Love Witch walks a very thin line with the horror and comedy. It is not an outright parody of campy 60s horror, thankfully. Sometimes it does cross over that line a little bit, but on the whole, it maintains an interesting tonal balance. Funny, but sadly true. Sexy, but also makes you feel bad for finding it sexy. Completely visually arresting. It is well worth a watch.